Hi everyone, welcome back to Hope and Coffee. I'm Hope, with me is Coffee, and today I really wanted to bring to you my book review of a book called After the Forest by Kell Woods. And I am a super big fan of fantasy and fairy tales, and this one fell into both of those categories so beautifully for me. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to bring it to you. I thought it was a perfect fall read. Now, this was a book that I got through NetGalley, and it was provided by the publishers, and I thought it was wonderfully done. It was dark. It was not so sweet. It was a little bitter, but in the good sorts of way, in my personal opinion. But let me give you the summary first, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Ginger, honey, cinnamon, flower, a drop of blood to bind its power. 1650, the Black Forest, Württemberg. 15 years after the witch in Gingerbread House, Greta and Hans are struggling to get by. Their mother and stepmother are long dead. Hans is deeply in debt from gambling, and the countryside lies in ruins, its people recovering in the aftermath of a brutal war. Greta has a secret, the witch's grimoire, secreted away and whispering in her ear, and the recipe inside that makes the most sinfully delicious and addictive gingerbread. As long as she can bake, Greta can keep her small family afloat. But in a village of superstition, Greta and her intoxicating gingerbread is a source of ever-growing suspicion and vicious gossip. And now, dark magic is returning to the woods. And Greta's own powers, magic she's trying to still understand, may be the only thing that can save her, if it doesn't kill her first. This is a stunning meld of love story, fairy tale, magic, and history by an exciting debut Australian voice, perfect for fans of Naomi Novik, Bridget Collins, and Kate Forsyth. So I loved it because it was a kind of a retelling or a continuation of the story of what we're kind of familiar with Hansel and Gretel. This is after 15 years, like it says, after they have exited the forest, after the witch's cottage, after the witch has been burned, and Hansel and Gretel are trying to survive on their own, and it's not going well for them. They are still looked down upon by the village, and the village really does kind of see them more as, I guess, pariahs. Hans, and in this book they call him Hans, not Hansel. They call him Hans, and Gretel is Greta, and I think it's Margareta, but they call her Greta. And she is starting to be very suspiciously looked at because they say she has red hair. It's kind of auburnish, I would assume, based on the description. And there's a lot of speculation about what happened in the witch's castle or witch's hut, and if they really did just burn this witch and all this sort of stuff, or if she was just an old woman and what really happened there. So again, there's a lot of he said, she said going on. The village is very superstitious. They're in the black woods of, the countryside. And I love stories that come out of Blackwood because, especially anything Grimm's Brothers, it all has great depth to it, but it also has great meaning and understanding when it comes to the characters. There's such wonderful perspectives that can be had, but it's never pretty. And I really do enjoy that because it's not Disney-fied. It's gritty and it's dark and sometimes it's hard. So of course you see Hansel and Gretel, or Hans and Greta, struggling to survive. Greta is able to sell her gingerbread that she bakes, that she has the witch's spell book, that she is able to make the gingerbread from the recipe, and this gingerbread is pretty much their only source of income. Even though Hans supposedly works, he gambles it all away, constantly keeping them in debt, and Greta's the only one who seems to be even paying the debt. And then but you get such interesting characters in this story too. You get a couple of dark strangers coming in. You get flashbacks to some of their childhood and what happened to their mom, flashbacks to their stepmom, and a lot of different secrets come to light. There is the new Duchess. I believe she's the Duchess. So there's a lot of different things going on in the story as well. There are references to other storybook stories as well as, if I remember kind of like some of my other lore, there is a little bit of Alice in Wonderland, but more so the Red Queen and the White Queen, not so much Alice. There is a little bit of Snow White referencing as with poison apples and huntsmen. There's a couple other kind of superstition. You're going to get a couple other supernatural beings also involved. So I don't want to give too much away because I really do think that there was quite a bit of good things going on. And if I were to say anything negative about it, I would say that it's probably maybe got a little too much going on, would be my only negative connotation, and I don't even really think it's that bad because I thought it was woven together very well. I just think that there was really a lot of pieces to have to pull together that maybe we could have simplified it just a little bit in order to truly keep it streamlined and succinct. I think that was probably what I would truly ask for if it came to giving it any sort of like constructive criticism. I think some of the conversations were a little flat, but truly, I do wish Greta could have maybe been a little bit of a stronger character. I do think she builds up to it in a way, but she's a little bit easy to manipulate by different characters in the story. Hans, also kind of the same. But anyway, these are pretty easy criticisms to make. And honestly, overall, once I finished the story, I really liked it. I would honestly give it 5 stars. I've recommended it to my book podcast, and I believe we are going to read this book later on in October and probably do a book club read of this book with the hopes that we can bring you an episode of what we all think about this together. So I didn't want to get too far into it. I wanted to keep this to my pretty short 9 to 10 minute little episode of what I usually do to just give you a little like sneak peek, a little clip. Without going into too much detail. Now, if you're really looking forward to hearing more about this book, please tune into that episode in a couple weeks because I would love for you to know more. There may be spoilers in that episode because we are starting to find out that people kind of like spoilers. So if you are somebody who kind of likes spoilers, then please tune in and I will see you all on the next page. Have a great one.